My name's Gaby, and I prefer to go by she, her. I speak Persian fluently, I speak Spanish fluently, English obviously, and I speak conversationally Italian and German. My birth mother is from Thailand. I was raised by an Iranian woman, and my father is Irish, blonde hair and blue eyes. I was actually born in the country of Panama in the city of Balboa, but my father was in the military. So, again, I was born in Panama, raised in Italy and Germany, and then resided. My father is from Massachusetts, and then I was raised again in Italy and Germany, and then had the privilege of living in Massachusetts infrequently, and then in Maryland, and moved to Florida when I was 18. Been here ever since. Moved to Florida again when I was 18, and then been here for 30 years. So yeah, it's been an adventure for the past 30 years. Family was always a hard term for me. Um, my birth mother, who was from Thailand, and my father divorced when I was 5. So that would have been 79. And I always thought it was kind of weird because my father retained custody of me, so that would have been like 79 again. Um, and back in 79, I always thought it was kind of awkward that a single father would retain custody of their child. Even nowadays, that's kind of weird, but especially back in those days, I thought it was awkward. So, then my father remarried my stepmother, who was Iran, and she migrated from Iran because of her religion. She was Baha'i, and back in those days, Baha'i people were fleeing Iran because of Khomeini, um, and obviously Khomeini and being Muslim were persecuting the Baha'i people, so they were fleeing the country. My stepmom, who in my heart of hearts was my mother because she raised me, migrated to Italy. So my dad, we were stationed in Livorno, Italy, where my dad and she met. So growing up, she was my mother. That's where, I mean, obviously I was 5 years old, so she raised me, and so I learned her native tongue, which was Farsi or Persian. Um, and then I learned Persian. Obviously, I was learning English at the same time. And truth be told, she was actually a high school English teacher in Iran, so she spoke 7 languages. So I was learning Persian, Italian, and English all at the same time. So again, family never really meant much to me because growing up, she and her family had money because not because, but they were from Iran, so they had money. My father came from a very alcoholic, abusive family. His father drank, his mother drank. Very cold, traditional, if I may, white trash family in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. So, family was just a word. It was never a feeling. Our house was always eccentric, filled with lavish things, but it was just a term. It was very cold, filled with very warm and lavish items. I don't leave my house usually without my phone, my purse, and usually makeup. When I was living myself as a gay man, um, I was a drag queen at one point in my life. Um, and just living with that one stigma, if I may address that stigma, people in a heterosexual world often misconstrue different points of what a drag queen is and what a transgender person is and what a transsexual person is. A transsexual is someone that has fully transitioned into being a real woman. They've had bottom surgery, they've had top surgery, so they are officially a real woman from head to toe. A transgender person, such as myself, is a person that is started on hormones, which, by the way, I have not had any hormones. Up until now, through the grace of God and my higher power, have not had one drop of hormones just because I have a medical condition. But as soon as I get them, I will be starting my hormone therapy. I just kind of look pretty. But and then a drag queen is a person that is a beautiful persona, or a male that takes on the beautiful persona of a woman for the art form of it. And then a crossdresser or a transvestite is usually a cis or a straight man that just enjoys dressing up as a woman for the pure joy of it. Um, with that being said, when I was living as my life as a man and I was a drag queen, I was gay bashed by 6 men. So I'm sure, that was really fun. But no, that was a horrific experience. And with that being said, as a transgendered woman, I was actually sexually assaulted about 5 weeks ago. To add to my story, within a 36 hour time frame, which has actually put me into my position that I am today. So it's very ironic that you picked me. Again, I'm very honored that you picked me, but I do have a story to tell, as most people do in my position. Um, about 5 weeks ago, within a 36-hour period, I was evicted from my apartment. I was abandoned by a friend who I've known for several years, who was actually going to help me. He drove down from Mississippi. When it came time to move me, he literally abandoned me, my dog, and all my belongings. So I gave up my keys to my apartment and was literally homeless with no place to go, with no help from family or friends. So I was homeless. And then the one person that I knew to call, or the only person really to answer my call that said he would help, then drugged me and sexually assaulted me, which lasted for about 12 hours. Um, and then I was again abandoned because my phone only worked on Wi Fi. And whenever he left, because he was using his hotspot on his phone, so I could only call for help or speak to anybody when he was home. And then he was in and out of his home. Then finally, through a wonderful organization called Trans Social, which is here or up north in Broward County, um, Ashley and Raji were frantically trying to get me out of that situation. And then they finally were able to find me an Airbnb, where there was also in coordination with Nadia from Inspire. And then they were able to get me into an Airbnb for 4 or 5 days until I was able to get into Detox and then finally into Inspire. So, with that being said, yes, I've had, as many in my community have faced, physical and verbal hardships. We are not a minority. We are not deviants. We are human beings. We are people who love back, who bleed just like everybody else. We are people who require love, who give love, and we are nobody less than anybody else. We have parents just like everybody else. And that's all we require, is to be accepted and to be loved. It's nobody's fault. God does not make mistakes. God loves everybody equally. God loves me, and I love God. You may call him somebody else. You may call I refer to God as my higher power. My relationship with God is difficult and not like yours, but that's my relationship. So yeah, I feel it difficult, just like I feel like it's difficult and hard for me to use that term family. It's more of an acquaintance. So that's my answer to that question. The biggest challenge I think I feel for our community continuing forward, especially in the state of Florida. First, if I may, I'd like to address Florida and then we'll continue globally, if I may. But I think Florida, especially, is just being seen as humans. Because I think, like, if you go up to a normal person, even they don't even see us as normal. You know, sure, you might see us on a TV show or hear about us on a radio or, you know, but it's just because people can. Somebody like DeSantis, just because they can and with the position that they hold, it's so easy for somebody like them to make us seem non-normal, which is a ridiculous thing. A person has that power to hold, and I believe, unfortunately, it started with Trump. Now, globally speaking, I think that we're making more of a mark or a name for ourselves. And I only say that because of people like Eddie Izzard or, um, just the LGBT movement in general. You know, um, Trans people are coming into their own, whether it's, people like yourselves as far as art or music or poetry or fashion, even models now. Just putting it out there. I've always wanted to be a plus size model, but like, um, just trans people are coming out and, globally, people are, you know, are seeing what we're capable of doing. Gender, queer people have always been known for our ethnic, our artwork, our creativity, the things that we're able to do that have some kind of contribution to mankind. We're not construction workers. I'm not going to build you a skyscraper, but you know what? I'll make sure your house looks good. I can do your hair, not me personally, but I'll put together some stuff that has some contribution to the world. But it seems like from where we've come to where we're going, people are starting to appreciate what we have to offer globally, not down here. Whew. That's a tough question. When I look in the mirror, honestly, I still see a scared little girl. I see a scared little girl that has body image issues. I see a scared little girl who wants to run and run and run. But instead of running away from a door, from those body image issues, from a bottle, from a pipe, from a bad dream, I can see myself running to a door that's opening up to a blue sky, to a rainbow, from a stillness that's filled with rainbows rather than thunderstorms and clouds, to a beautiful place where I once dreamed of having a man and a house and 2 kids, to a reality of where that actually might come true. So for that, I'm thankful for. If I could give that little 10-year old girl a little gleam of hope, I would just tell her, just keep fighting, just keep dealing with whatever you need to deal with, but just keep chasing that bright star because it exists and you will find it. And just when you do find it, just hold on to it because eventually it does get better. You will have to fight through that bullshit and that drama and that negativity, but just keep fighting because it's worth the fight. It really, really is worth the fight. It really is. It's gonna hurt and it's gonna hurt like hell, but it really is worth the fight. That's what I would tell her. Well, to be honest, I think that if I were to have a legacy, I would want it to be that change is possible. Change is possible. If you're really thinking of accomplishing something, you can really love yourself at the end of the day. Because for a long time, I kept chasing the wrong things. I never, I still honestly to this day don't completely love myself. I know it's a long way to go. And I'm not there yet. I'm so far from there yet. But I want to. And I will. Because I deserve it. I'm starting to learn that I can. And I'm deserving of it. I'm not there yet, like I said, and I want to be deserving of it. And I'll get there. And change is possible. And happiness is attainable. So I guess if my name and me had to be associated with a legacy of some sort, then those are what I would want it to be. Change is possible. Happiness is attainable. Change is possible. Happiness is attainable. And love is you yourself is deserving of love.